Hi there and welcome to Techopia. Thank you very much for joining us today. It is a gorgeous day and we are here yet again with one of the definitely dynamic and also very interesting entrepreneurs here in our ecosystem. We're also here today at KRP Properties, which is so much more than space and one of the supporters of Techopia Live. So let's jump into it. Alex Hebert, thank you so much for joining us today, the CEO and co-founder of Mopify, which is literally cleaning up within the housekeeping industry. And also the wonderful aspect is that you are also just recently been recognized as one of the fastest growing companies here in Ottawa. So congratulations on that. Thank you. So let's dive straight into it. I mean, I'm so interested to hear about this because, oh my goodness, housekeeping, house cleaning, just the whole aspect. It's getting so much attention these days because of our limited time that we have these days. But it's such a necessity because we want bigger homes, we have bigger families, and we want to, of course, present ourselves is where we live. It's our home. So I think that's why I would love to work with Mopify. But let's hear your angle, Alex. What inspired you to start this platform?
Yeah, so, well, first off, thanks for having me on. And what inspired us was, so my co-founder and I had been working for another software company, and we had decided that we wanted to start our own company, and we really liked the idea of taking a traditional brick and mortar business that doesn't really scale well and bringing it onto the internet and trying to scale it. And so we'd been playing with some ideas, and this was around 2012. 2013. And at the same time, my wife and I had just had our second kid. And so it was at that point where we kind of reached the breaking point and we said, okay, we've got to get some help around the house. So my brother-in-law had found somebody on Kijiji who was cleaning his house, and so we got her contact information and contracted with her to clean our house. But what we found was over time the quality really dropped, and she'd kind of come in and clean really quick and leave, and so we had to have a couple awkward conversations, and eventually she just kind of up and left one day. Yeah. And then I started looking around at more traditional cleaning companies, calling around, trying to get quotes, and I just found the pricing to be really opaque. The scheduling was really rigid. I'm a kind of geeky kind of guy, so I want to do everything online. There was none of that. So I said to my co-founder, I said, there might be something here. And so we started looking at the market, and what we found was a couple of really interesting things. Was one, it's huge. Just in Canada alone, about $3.6 billion a year is spent on housekeeping. Wow. And so basically, 11% of homes across the country have help to help them clean. But what's more interesting about that stat is the sort of the household names. They really have a small market share. 80% of the market is actually just independents who you go find them on Kijiji, or they're sort of putting flyers out there, and so we said, okay, well, that's interesting. What is it that the cleaners like about sort of being their own boss, and what is it that the customers like about working with them? And so really, what it came down to from the customer perspective was cost. So it's much more cost effective to be contracting directly with somebody, and also the personal relationship of having the same person. You get to know them, they know your home, and
they know how messy you are.
Right, exactly.
What room to clean first.
Exactly, yeah. And so that was the main motivator from the customer side, and then from the cleaner side, obviously, it's the flexibility of setting their own schedule. They were making more, working for themselves than for a traditional cleaning company, and that was really their motivation. But then again, on both sides, there were drawbacks, right? On the customer side, you didn't have insurance, you didn't have any customer care, you didn't have the flexibility with scheduling and the ease of use of the online tools and things like that. You always had to have cash on hand. So that side of the equation, there was lots of opportunity to add some value. And on the other side of the equation, from the cleaner perspective, they had to acquire customers, they had to manage customers, they had to manage payment. If somebody forgot their money, and if somebody canceled on them, then they had an opening in their schedule. So we kind of said, okay, there's definitely something here. And so we built this software platform that aimed to basically try to capture that 80% of the market that's contracting directly with each other and add the value on both sides. And so we built the product and launched it in early 2014. And right away, it was pretty obvious that it was a winner. What's great about it for us, what really worked out well, and we didn't realize it at the time, we kind of lucked into this, but we didn't have to educate a market. Let's say when, for example, when Airbnb launched, nobody knew that you could rent a room from somebody on an online platform. So they had the added challenge of going and educating people and saying, look, you can do this now. Whereas for us, people were already looking for house cleaning, so we just kind of had to reach out and pull them in and show them that, hey, look, there's a better way to do it. So we were able to get traction pretty quickly, which was nice. And that's the backstory, really.
Wow.
The rest,
the rest is history.
Yeah.
That's pretty spectacular. And I mean, let's quickly touch on that point. Wow, that's a fascinating story, and it's so true. It's such a simple need that you have just made easier, and you just connect the two dots with one another, and that's pretty much what it comes down to. Yes. Yeah,
absolutely. It's definitely not. At face value, it seems like it would be a pretty easy business to run, and at small scale it is, but as you scale up, it becomes pretty difficult to manage, as you can imagine, behind the scenes.
Do not underestimate the value. I was like, oh yeah,
right.
Mopify.
No, it's and really, from the tech perspective, what the customer sees and even what the cleaner sees, it's pretty trivial. All our tech is really just it's the admin side and managing everything.
Of course.
And so our tech team, we're just constantly iterating on the platform. I find every time we reach a new sort of plateau and scale, there's a whole new set of problems, and we're just constantly building features to help us sort of manage everything.
That's fantastic. So let's talk about this. You are Ottawa's fastest growing company now this year. You are planning to go and expand into the US.
Yes.
So what does that growth look like to you? I mean, it's awesome to know that you're growing so fast, and what's the next step for you?
Yeah, so next step for us, so obviously we started off in Ottawa, and that was in 2014, and since then we've expanded across Canada, so we now have operations in Ottawa, Toronto, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, and Winnipeg. And so at this point, those are, I think, the markets that are worth operating in Canada. So now we're looking south of the border, getting all our structure in place right now, having a lot of fun with all the lawyers and accountants, and so late 2018 we plan on launching in a couple of U.S. markets, and we'll go from there.
Beautiful.
So yeah,
that's going to open up some opportunities for sure.
Absolutely. There's lots of expansion to be done there.
Fantastic. Now and then, watch out, Europe soon enough.
Yes.
Now let's just hear what I mean. It is growth. It's a technical perspective. I mean, once again, just the technical aspect. I don't think we always necessarily give the credit for. I mean, how important is it for you now more than ever, especially in a market where a user interface needs to be so easy? Like people are, it's almost like a one-click solution. Otherwise, I got to move on to the next step. How did you take on that challenge, especially in this realm?
So for us, I mean, there was a lot of user testing and just seeing, just making sure that booking an appointment is very seamless and easy to do. It actually wasn't that big of a challenge. It's pretty straightforward. Your customers tell you pretty quickly if something's not working well, and so it's pretty easy to identify that and make the tweaks you have to make. But for us, it's again, almost all of our technical focus is on the back end and admin side, just managing an army of cleaners out there and everything that comes with that.
That's awesome. Yeah. Now, just in conclusion, I mean, just what would you say is the secret to your growth up to this point? What do you think has really helped your company to grow?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's a number of things. So first of all, just focus on quality. So for us, it's on the supply side, so finding cleaners, it can be challenging. In some markets, sometimes it's actually the bottleneck to growth, because you can only grow at the pace that you can bring on people who know how to clean, right? And so that's something that we don't compromise on. If we have to slow down growth a little bit in a market to bring that supply side up, we'll do that, because I think the last thing you want to do is sort of sully your brand by having subpar people out there doing the work, right? We're all about long-lasting relationships with our customers. So that's one aspect, is just making sure the quality's there, and obviously on the back end we have a ton of mechanisms for quality assurance and all that kind of thing. Another one, and it sounds kind of cliche and trivial, but it's the customer service side. Just being ultra responsive with any customer inquiry, and on both sides of the platform. So I consider the cleaners customers and customers. So responsiveness to both sides, being there to support like right away kind of thing. That's another major reason why I think we've seen the growth we've seen. And then again, just the back end, technically, we wouldn't have been able to scale without the tool set that we have. I just think back to when we started, what we had compared to now. Yeah. I mean, operations would just be crazy if we were at the scale now with what we started with, So
that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's those three things I think are the pillars of our growth.
Love it. So it's just quality and customer service, and then of course the technical aspect. If you're watching this, I'm here today with the co-founder and CEO of Mopify, Alex Hebert. Alex, thank you so much for sharing your story. Congratulations on
thank you very much.
Ottawa's fastest growing company, one of Ottawa's fastest growing companies. It's so wonderful to celebrate that, and it's so wonderful to see that here you are, several years later, just literally going global, which is what we want to see so more often. And congratulations on the hard work and dedication. Thank you so much for joining us. Once again, thank you very much to KRP Properties for supporting us and being here, and thank you very much for watching. Make sure you stay tuned to techopia.ca and go, if you haven't done so already, sign up for the newsletter at techopia.email and grab yourself an opportunity to be up to speed with what's happening in the tech community. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.